So continuing my build planning in the Fractal Design Define 7 XL, the one I have right here, I picked up an EK distribution block, but it's the one that they make for the Lee & Lee Dynamic. Is it going to fit in here? Should I use that aside from a reservoir? Well, let's talk about that today. This is the new Lee & Lee 011 Dynamic, or for the XL. This is their water distribution block that comes with a 3.1 DDC pump. Now, this is meant for the Lee & Lee Dynamic cases, but as EK doesn't currently have their R6 or any Fractal Design water distribution blocks, I'm told that these are possibly coming up now in March or even April. We have this to work with. Now, I have a Lee & Lee Dynamic XL build, and in that I have a different distribution block that I put in because that was before this one came out. So for a while I thought, should I take that one out of the Lee & Lee Dynamic XL, put the EK one in there? That would make it an all EK build. Or should I just try to put this in this bad boy right back here, the Fractal Design Define 7 XL? Now, technically, this water block isn't really meant for this case, but as the mounting ports are a 360 millimeter radiator type, so that means that if you have something where a 360 millimeter radiator could go, you could technically mount this to it. So I don't really see why I couldn't mount it in this case, even if you have to do a couple of different options. I have tried this before in different cases, not this particular one, but a different distribution block. One option that you could also do is to get some type of radiator bracket that would let you mount something like this, a water distribution block, at a 90-degree angle. So even if you don't have the clearance, because you kind of need the space behind this, that's why the Lee & Lee Dynamic case or the XL case, they have sort of the space that you can mount this water distribution block, and from the back you can screw it in. Now, if you try to mount this to a radiator, it's not going to work because you're not going to be able to screw it in unless you have some type of bracket. Now, with this type of bracket, you could theoretically mount it on like a front radiator or something like that, because then if the radiator is right here in the front, you mount it at a 90-degree angle and you'll be fine. The Lee & Lee Dynamic case, you actually mount it to the back. Now, I'm still taking apart this Fractal Design 7XL case, but I think it has a similar setup to the Lee & Lee Dynamic. I think I should be able to mount this water distribution block right to that back plate somewhere. It does sort of have the 120 millimeter type of fan slots that the Lee & Lee Dynamic would have, so I think it would work. So now basically I just have to sort of take the case apart and put it there and see if it fits. I did a little quick test fitting just on the front, and I think it would look really nice. Of course, this EK distribution block is not meant for this case, and it does have a Lee & Lee little logo on it, but practically it doesn't really matter. Aesthetically, it still looks really cool, and it's going to perform just as well as if they had an R6 version. Now, the only thing is, fitment would be a lot better, of course. It's going to fit better if it's a specific version made for this, but since it's not technically out yet, it's still going to be out later this month or next month or whenever. We have this to sort of play around with, and I'm doing the build now, and I think it's going to look really sharp. Now, why would I want to put a water distribution block like this instead of a D5 pump in the traditional cylindrical reservoir? Of course, that would be likely easier just because it's so easy to mount it to the back of the case or to the radiator. But I think that these new water distribution blocks, well, they've been around for a few years, but new in terms of popularity, a lot of cases, specifically due to the Lee & Lee Dynamic, that really pushed up a lot of demand. I think it looks really awesome just because it makes a lot of sense. You have a whole plate that basically distributes the water. It looks more interesting than just, a plain cylindrical reservoir, even though I still like those for certain builds. I think it has its place, and in a lot of builds you can really only fit them. But this, not only does it look good, but I've really enjoyed working with these type of water distribution blocks before, just because it's easier to drain. You can put a drain valve right on the bottom. Generally, they're easier to fill. Everything's in one block. There have been cases where it may be a little bit harder to get air out of a water distribution block like this, but in general, for the upgraded aesthetic, and let's be honest, that's really the reason that we want to do these type of water distribution blocks instead of a traditional reservoir. They just look so cool. You get to see the liquid up there, especially if you do a vertical GPU. Now, in this case, because it's so large, I think I am going to do a vertical GPU. I haven't decided yet. Generally, it would make a lot more sense to do one with like an acrylic block, like the EK block. That way you can see the liquid. But I do have an Aceto Titan XP, the previous generation. It's all blacked out, of course. So I have to see if I can make that fit into this theme. I mean, ideally it does look better when it's see-through, but in this case, I may make that theme work. It's just going to be a little bit of like that darker aesthetic. Maybe I could use some darker fittings or something like that. And I'm already going to have this water distribution block in there. So that's going to pretty much open up the entire case for multiple possibilities. So I'm going to try this water distribution block, this Lee & Lee version in the Fractal Design case. We'll see how it works out. I plan to do a few more videos on this build, updating you guys, eventually culminating in sort of the finished build. I'm really excited. The case is super high quality. I've had a lot of fun working with it. I'm going to be able to fit a lot of water cooling in here, and I want to make it visually as interesting as possible. That's why I'm weighing these decisions with the water distribution blocks and things like that. So as I progress more on this build, I'm going to keep you guys updated. It's really exciting. It's a massive case, and I think this water block is going to look awesome in it. All right, guys, thank you very much for watching. Remember to subscribe, leave a comment below, smash that like button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.